I believe that life should be hopeful. When I'm sitting with somebody who is struggling, I want to be that person that can be available just to even listen. And when you listen to somebody and they feel heard, I think they feel a little bit of hope. It's the best part of humanity is to let somebody know who's struggling that there's hope and they aren't alone.
Usara is an organization with the Utah Support Advocates for Recovery Awareness. Our mission is to connect and inspire communities to advocate for addiction recovery. And we really envision a Utah where recovery community and connection are seen as the most valuable assets for people to recover from addiction. In recent years, I think that there's been a shift in how we talk about addiction, and that there was a really powerful TED Talk that came out a few years ago, where this gentleman talks about how the opposite of addiction isn't sobriety; the opposite of addiction is connection. And I think that for those of us in recovery, that really resonated as being true. And so we want to make sure that people have an opportunity to experience that connection as part of their recovery. And so we provide a variety of different kinds of direct services, like we have peer recovery coaching, so people are able to meet with a peer recovery coach one-on-one and get some guidance to be able to sustain recovery over the long haul.
I actually found out I was pregnant with my daughter when I was in jail, and I stayed sober during my pregnancy. I went to treatment, I graduated. About a month after she was born, I used. I lost my job. My daughter was removed from my care and I got evicted. And so the only thing I knew how to do was continue to use. And then I decided that, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to watch my daughter call someone else mom. I actually got a recovery coach when I was pregnant with my daughter. My coach saw me through. There was support there. They showed up for me at my family team meetings. They showed up for me in different court hearings, and they were there to say, hey, you're not your past. I found that support to really be the parent I am today. My children were and are the jumpstart to my recovery.
Peer support is an evidence-based practice found to be highly effective in helping people recover from addiction. Our family support program is also based on an evidence-based model called the Community Reinforcement and Family Training Model. So it's CRAFT is the acronym. And it's been found to be highly effective in helping loved ones engage in a change process.
I have a daughter who's now been in recovery 9.5 years, but when this journey started, I was trying to reach out for help. What can I do? So I went to this craft support group and I felt like I found a home. So I just started going to the group. And when I knew how important and how the skills that I was learning, how they worked, that to me was my profound moment, right? And when I found that out, I was talking to my daughter, because I have a tendency to talk more than listen and lecture and nag and all of those things that we all know how to do really well. And I just listened to her. I listened the whole time. And it was an hour. We'd never had a phone call for an hour. I mean, it was 5 minutes before we were hanging up on each other. And at the end of that call, she told me, just, Mom, I think this is the best conversation we've ever had. And I get emotional every time I think about that, because that is how profound learning these skills and learning how to communicate with our loved ones is. From there on out, I just kept going to group, and then next thing I knew, I was facilitating. 9.5 years later, here I am, I'm still facilitating. My great joy when I'm supporting people on these family groups is people come and they're so broken. They don't know what to do. For some people, this is their last hope, their last chance. They've tried everything else. You can almost see by the second or third meeting, things start feeling lighter for them. They start finding hope. The parents are finding joy in their lives again, which they haven't been able to do, right? Because we're so focused on our loved ones and how we can fix them. But in reality, who we have to fix is us. And once we start fixing us, we have more space to help our loved ones.
We also have our ARCHES program. It's our Addiction Recovery Coaching in Healthcare and Emergency Settings program. And in that program, we have peer recovery coaches that meet one-on-one with individuals in acute care environments after having experienced, say, an overdose or any substance use related crisis. They're there to help connect that person to the next stage of their journey in their care.
My recovery journey actually began in a hospital bed. I was so vulnerable and hurt and beat down, and I just needed somebody to be able to show me the way, to help give me some light. Now I'm able to help provide that and help see it. And it's just the second you walk into these hospital rooms and you explain to these people like, hey, I'm a person in recovery, I know what you're going through. Like, you just see that light click in their head, like, oh, this is someone I can trust.
And then also we provide advocacy and public policy changes in the state of Utah. So we are the voice of lived experience up at the state legislature, telling elected officials what matters to us as people in recovery. I think of the naloxone bill, for example. In just the few years that we've had naloxone broadly available in the state of Utah, we're now at 9,000 reported overdose reversals. But that's at least 9,000 people that are alive today that wouldn't have been alive had we not passed that piece of legislation. And so for me, that's success.
Putting people in a jail cell for their substance use doesn't work. And so how can we give them the opportunity to wellness opposed to punishing them for their illness? There's stigma there too, right? We often go, oh, that person's a criminal, they're a bad person. And it's like, in most cases, people make mistakes and they're greater than their mistakes. And I think that the recovery community does a really good job at loving people that have made mistakes.
We've had many staff who've come from a participant in the program and then interested in becoming a peer coach, take the peer support training, and then after that training, we've got people interviewing for a job. The process is, I've been given this and I want to give it to somebody else.
What it means to me, sharing my lived experience, is that I really get to sit next to somebody and be in the moment with them and meet them where they're at.
What we've been able to create in the way we do things at Usara is very much this inclusive culture. It's not exclusive. Recovery should be available for anyone, and I believe Usara has that ability to do that because we've all experienced that, wanting to connect and wanting to have support to live differently. And we've created this environment where people can do that.